Hello, and welcome to Short Messages with Pastor Paul. You know, in Genesis 32, we see Jacob wrestling with God. Yes, some people do say that it's an angel, but we know from the context that Jacob knows who he's wrestling with. He knows he's wrestling with God. I mean, after all, at the end of the passage, he's given a new name even, Israel, which means he wrestles with God. Now, have you ever wanted something really bad? I mean, like, have you ever been truly desperate? Now, while you're thinking about that, Jacob in Genesis 32, he knew what it meant to be desperate. This was a matter of life and death. Now, that's a line we use all the time, isn't it? Oh, it's a matter of life and death. But we use it too much and we don't necessarily know what it means. I mean, we might tell one of our friends, hey, quick, let me borrow your homework, let me copy your homework. It's a matter of life and death. You know, but when you look behind, whoever is saying that, you don't see a stranger running after that person with a knife saying, did you do your homework? It's not really a matter of life and death. But in this case it is. Because Jacob, he was on his way to see his brother Esau. And if you know the family dynamics, Esau is the brother that Jacob stole the birthright from when they were younger. Some people think that, oh, great, he just stole a blessing prayer. Can't he just get another one from their father Isaac? Actually, no, because it wasn't just, a simple blessing prayer. What Jacob stole was a birthright that came with the blessing prayer. Now, a birthright is more than just a blessing prayer. A birthright, along with a birthright comes the rights to the leadership of the family. If you have the birthright, even if you're the younger brother, you are the leader of the family in the future. If the father dies, you are the next leader. You are the patriarch of that family. And also you get twofold of the inheritance than your other siblings. So you get even more inheritance. That if it's just you and another sibling, the inheritance is divided by 3. And so you would get 2 and your brother would get 1. So the fact that Jacob stole the birthright from Esau is actually a really big deal. And Esau held the grudge against his brother, and Jacob knew this, and Rebekah, their mother, knew this. Esau told himself that he was going to kill his brother Jacob once his father Isaac died. And so he was holding a grudge. He was so angry. And so Rebekah sends her fears for Jacob's life and sends her son Jacob far away. Jacob and Esau are twins, by the way, brothers. And now, in today's passage, Jacob is on his way back home to receive that inheritance, to live on the land that his father promised him. And he knows that when he gets there, Esau will be there waiting for him. So he's terrified. Naturally, he's terrified. So what does he do? He sends his wives, his slaves, his children, and all of his possessions ahead of time to the land first. And he's all by himself, and he says that he's going to go the next day, and he's spending the night there. And there's something he must do. And what is it that he needs to do? He needs to prepare himself. He's terrified. He's going to meet his brother the next day. For all he knows, his brother, as soon as he sees him, might come after him and kill him. And so he's desperate. And as we read on, his family has gone ahead, his possessions, everything has gone ahead, and suddenly, really randomly, we see Jacob wrestling a random man. But we find out that it's not a random man. He's wrestling with God. And as he's wrestling, what do we see in verse 25? He's wrestling the man, and then the man, verse 25 said, when the man saw that he could not overpower him, he touched the socket of Jacob's hip, so that his hip was wrenched as he wrestled with the man. Then the man said, let me go, for it is daybreak. But Jacob replied, I will not let you go unless you bless me. That's all it says. And we know that Jacob knew who he was wrestling. And he knew that he needed a blessing from God, even though his hip was permanently damaged. This wasn't just a temporary pop out of socket and pop into socket and then just walk around like normal. No, it wasn't that kind of injury. This was a permanent, debilitating injury. He would walk with a limp for the rest of his life. That must have been so much pain while he's wrestling this man, refusing to let him go, this man who is God. And he's wrestling with God, refusing to let God go unless he's blessed. Do you see the desperation there? He needs this blessing. This blessing is a matter of life and death for him. he doesn't have the confidence to face his brother without God's blessing. Because why? Because he might actually die. So he's terrified, and he is desperate for God's blessing. And in his desperation, we see how much he trusts God, because he doesn't trust anything else. And when we see him terrified, when we see how hard he's wrestling, we see the level of his desperation. And when we see the level of his desperation, we see the level of his faith in God, because he believed that if it's not for God, there is no way he will get out of this alive. And so he's holding on for that blessing. He's holding on for that dear life, and he is that desperate before God, because he needs to be blessed in order to survive in his mind. Desperate. When's the last time you were desperate? It's Passion Week. This is the week that our Lord, our Jesus, he suffered. This is the week leading up to his crucifixion. And I've already told you during Sunday service that the pastors and I, along with all the pastors at our church, will be fasting for 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, in remembrance, to honor what Jesus did for us. And during that time, we're going to be praying. We're going to be in the main sanctuary from morning till night, praying, reading the Bible, praying, to show God our desperation for God. Is there something you truly want? Is there something you truly need? Not even want. Are you desperate for God? Desperate to God for something? Do you want to cry out, hold on to him? Show him how desperate you are. Do not let him go unless he blesses you. Have you ever wrestled with God like this before? Well, I challenge you to try. It's Passion Week. What a great time to try. I'll invite you to fast. You don't have to fast like 3 days in a row like I will. But try fasting a meal a day. That's doable. Trust me, it's doable. I know sometimes you've been so busy you even forgotten about food before. I challenge you to be desperate for God, and I challenge you to show God how desperate you are for his blessing, for him to hear you. Is there something you absolutely need? Is it a matter of life and death? Then be desperate for God. It's been a short word. Hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you on Sunday.